Here we are again, and moving right along. I tell you, these reflections, these meditations for me have been A+ amazing. I'm hoping that at this point that you are, like I, getting closer and closer and closer to God. I mean, that really is my focus. That's really my purpose in this time of social media detox, reflection, meditation, is really to build a deeper relationship with God. This is about, what Micah 6:8 talks about, walking humbly with God. And as I think about today's verse, which comes from Philippians 4:13, it's a very familiar passage of scripture, where the writer says, I can do. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I think about many scriptures, and I'll share those a little bit later. When I think about that particular one, I cannot not think about the things I cannot do. But I do know what I can do with the strength of Christ. So really, for me, this is about having confidence in knowing that God has created me with purpose, for purpose, on purpose. Isn't that good to know that our life has purpose? And when we understand that our life has purpose, our life has meaning, we have been positioned with purpose, for purpose, on purpose, for purpose. That's a good thing to know. And we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. I remember when I was in the Marine Corps and going through boot camp, man, what a traumatic introduction to life. I mean, you're coming out of high school and right into the real world. I mean, and a different world than most people would experience, that would require me to have confidence, that would require me to be courageous, to be tenacious, to be bold. It's an experience like none other. And if you're a veteran, we honor you because you understand what I'm talking about. It's a different world, like this show growing up. But throughout that process and going through boot camp, as we went through the process, right around, I guess it was maybe the third month. Marines have the longest boot camp, the most strenuous and the longest boot camp. But we do something called swim qual. Now, before going to boot camp, I had taken some swimming lessons, and because I couldn't swim before that, but I knew in order to be a Marine, in order for me to get my blood stripe, in order for me to wear that uniform, because that's what it was about. That's what it was about for me. I wanted to be a Marine. And I have to thank my Uncle Bruce for that. Because even as a young child, when I saw him walking to my grandmother's house with his dress blues, from that day on, it was a thought in my head. I wanted to wear that uniform. And when we got to swim qual, I was a little nervous because I just learned how to swim, but this was a little bit different because I thought that, just jump in the water. I learned a few moves. learned how to float, even move around. But this was different because when we got to Swim Qual, we were instructed to have our entire uniform on, including boots, the helmet, a backpack, and a rubber rifle. And I'm watching all of this, and still with all of the pressure and the yelling of boot camp, even though we had classes and instructions, we were told to climb this ladder 12 feet in the air, and once we got up, the instructions were that we had to look down, look up, and step off, and then into the water. With all of this stuff, right? With all of this stuff. Now, I was prepared to do a few swimming moves, but I was not prepared mentally, emotionally, physically, to have all of this stuff, this additional stuff on. And then when it was my turn, my little 117-pound little legs, they were moving so fast. If they were matchsticks, I would have set the whole place on fire. They were moving so fast. I remember slowly approaching that ladder and climbing and almost slipping down because my legs were still shaking. And I got to the top. Here I am with all of this heavy stuff: helmet, camouflage uniform, boots, backpack, rubber rifle. And I'm stuck. I'm frozen. And I remember the drill instructor yelling at me and said, "Harris, are you ready?" I'm stuck. "Sir, yes, sir." He said, "Look down, look up, step off." Still stuck. But somehow I remembered that there was a goal, there was an outcome that I wanted, and in order for me to be a Marine, I had to go through that process. I had to complete the Swim Qual. So I found enough courage in me. I found enough strength in me. And I looked down. I looked up. And I stepped off. Into the water I went. Down in the deep. Then all of a sudden, the stuff that I had on became a flotation device. And the backpack and all that, it began to lift me up in the water. Next thing you know, I'm on my back. And all I had to do was just flap my arms. And I noticed that I was moving. I noticed that I wasn't dead. I noticed that I could reach my goal. I noticed that I was going to be a Marine, because this was really one of the final steps in becoming a Marine. Now, in this story, there are many, 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 many life lessons, but for the sake of time, I only have a few minutes. But what I would like to share with you is this. Life is similar to this, where it looks like we will be faced with some impossible situations, and it looks like that, in order for us to get to, we gotta go through. I don't know if you've ever been in that place before, but there's something that you want. There's a place that you want to go. There's a place you want to reach. But you understand, in order to get to, you have to, you must go through. I want to encourage somebody today, as I encourage myself, because I keep the focus on me, because there's some things that I want. There's some dreams that I have. There's some things that are left undone. And just as the scripture says today, I can do all things. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. That's the good news for all of us today. I don't know about you, but it's good news for me. And I'm excited today because when I think about this, I think about how in life we have to step up, and sometimes we have to go through some things. We have to climb the ladder. And even when we get there, sometimes there's some hesitation, but isn't that what faith is? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Isn't that what faith is? Faith is taking the next step, not understanding what's beyond. But why would we need faith if we already knew? Faith is about going after what seems to be impossible to get to the possible. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Darren can do all things through Christ who strengthens him.
Pretty good. Not bad. So, once again, if you listen to us live or later, doesn't matter when, this is a test, but since you're here, I want to say thank you for being here. And if you haven't already, I want you to subscribe to this channel. This is the Darren L. Harris YouTube channel, and we're running a few tests, but we're going to be doing more lives. The lives will be no more than 12 to 15 minutes, but we're coming in, we're sharing knowledge and sharing information. And so I just wanted to reach out to you and say thank you, number one, for joining me here today. Even though we're running a test, I want to thank you. And if you haven't already, yes, subscribe, like, share, and comment. There's a couple of reasons why we utilize this particular platform. Of course, this is to add value. I'm here to add value to your life, to add value to your friends and your family's lives. You know, we invest in what we value. You know, I just believe in adding value, and not just adding value to myself, because it's not just about me, it's also about you. But we can't add value to others until we first add value to ourselves. And as we add value to ourselves, then we have the ability to add value to others. Because if there are more people needing you than feeding you, then you are bleeding you. So you got to add value to yourself first, then add value to others, and then encourage others to add value to others. And so this is one of those value added situations where I'm coming in and I'm giving you all the information that I have on YouTube and how to set up your YouTube channel. And we're right now doing something called the Own the Room presentation training, so a speaker training. And so we want you to be a part of that as well. So that's going on, and you can look at any video at any time. You can just look at the number of views and you can see that some great things are happening. And so once again, this is Darren L. Harris. I want you to subscribe, like, share, and comment. We had a couple of questions too, so I'm going to do a specific video to respond to some of those questions. Some of those questions dealt with what type of equipment are you using. Some of the questions were about, you know, how do I go about setting up my YouTube channel? How do you develop content? What do I talk about? You know, I say slow down, one step at a time. But we're going to show you as much as we can here on this particular YouTube channel. Why? Because we're here to share information, education, motivation, but most importantly, transformation. This is the transformation channel. The Darren L. Harris YouTube channel is the transformation channel. You come here, you just expect to get education, information, motivation, but most importantly, transformation. That's why we're here. So once again, I want to thank you if you tuned in live, or even if you look at this later, because I got to go back. I'm testing many things. I'm testing lighting, I'm testing audio, I'm testing video, I'm testing, you know, the software that I'm using. We're going to talk about all that stuff. I'm going to tell you everything I use, tell you everything I know, and that's what we're doing. This is a test. So thank you once again, and if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe, like, share, comment, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell. We'll be back.